Um, I am Quinn Peterson with Downtown Provo Inc., and I'm the chair of the Design Review Committee Board. And so let's begin.
Hi, Quinn.
Hey, Carol, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Awesome. Well, let's do a quick roll call of the board, the Design Review Committee Board, whatever it's called. Let's see who all is here. So, Carol, I guess you're here.
Carol Walker, I'm a community person on the board, have property in Provo, commercial property on Center Street, just care deeply about Provo and what happens.
Awesome, thank you.
I'm also here, James Hall, newer member on the committee.
Thank you, James. Let's see, is there just three of us?
I think so.
Okay.
I think Matt's on, isn't Matt?
I just saw it on Nas list 3 committee members.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and then we're good to, is that a quorum enough? Okay, awesome. So I'm going to start by, I have to read this document, right? Okay, I'm going to start by reading this document just regarding how we're meeting during some of the COVID situations. It's a little bit lengthy, but let me start with that. In accordance with the Utah Code 52-4-207, I have determined that conducting meetings of the Provo City Planning Commission with an anchor location, such as the council chambers, presents a substantial risk to the health and safety of those who may be presenting there. These are the facts upon which I have made this determination. The World Health Organization has clarified novel coronavirus disease, aka COVID-19, as a pandemic. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention state that COVID-19 is easily spread from person to person between people who are in close contact with one another. The state of Utah is currently subject to a public health emergency order, which limits the size of public gatherings and which requires people to wear face coverings and follow social distancing guidelines. The Utah County is currently listed as having a high level of coronavirus transmission. Physical distancing measures will be difficult to set up and maintain in the council chambers. Therefore, for the next 30 days, all meetings of the Provo City Design Review will be conducted entirely via electronic means. Meetings are broadcast live and available later on demand on youtube.com/user/Provo channel 17. Agendas and support materials are available at provo.org/design review. To make a public comment or to join a meeting via telephone, follow the instructions provided on the public notices of each meeting. To send comments to the Provo City Design Review members or weigh in on current issues, email them to dspublichearings@provo.org. DS for Delta S. What's S? Services, design, development services, DS public hearings at provo.org. As amended by HB 5002, Open and Public Meetings Act Amendment 2020 5th Special Session, Utah Code annotated ACA 52-4-207 provides that a public body may convene and conduct an electronic meeting without an anchor location if the chair of the public body, A, makes a written determination that conducting the meeting with an anchor location presents a substantial risk to the health and safety of those who may be present at the anchor location, B, states in a written determination describing the section 4A the facts upon which the determination is based, and C, includes in the public notice for the meeting and reads at the beginning of the meeting the information described in subsections 4A and B. And then D, includes in the public notice information on how a member of the public may view or make comment at the meeting. UCA 52-4-207 states that a written determination describes in sections 4A and B expires 30 days after the day on which the chair of the public body makes this determination. Okay, thanks guys. So today on our agenda, we just have one presentation. Matt Taylor requests design review approval for a mixed-use building containing 4,300 square feet of office space and 24 residential units located at 980 West Center Street in the West Gateway Zone. This is in the Dixon neighborhood. Great. So what we'll do for the structure of the meeting, for those who are here and presenting, the owners of the project and or architects, whoever wants to present, will kind of tell us what the plan is. The purpose of this committee is to review the design. That includes landscaping and architectural renderings. We're not here to really talk about parking or access or some of those other things. So what we'll do is we'll hear from the presenters, and then the board will have a discussion, and then we'll hear from public comment, and as a board then make a recommendation. So
Quinn, may I make one comment?
yeah.
So, except if the parking, et cetera, affects the design of the building. I just wanted to
Sure.
add that when you said we don't. Okay,
Sure.
thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, Matt Taylor and your team, what would you like to show us?
So maybe I can start for the applicant. I've prepared a few slides here just to give us and the committee some context. 980 West Center Street is the location of the proposal. There's currently a vacant, half demolished convenience store car wash there. And to the applicants, I've got here with your site plan and landscape plan. I've also got your south and west elevations and a photo of the materials board. So if you want to move to any of those, or if you have your own presentation, I could let you share the screen. Just let me know. But go ahead.
So Matt, you talking to me, or this is Kevin Scholes?
Yeah, go ahead, Kevin.
Okay. Well, I don't really have too much more to add. If we can go Matt, go to that first. I guess it'd be the south elevation, if you would, please.
Yeah.
So what we tried to do, and in fact, really tried to do, is we tried to integrate this, understanding the importance of this corridor as it comes into town from the freeway, and that, over a period of time, of course, it's going to become more and more the gateway for the town. We wanted to make sure that the building exhibited some of the elements, some of the feel and sense of the downtown. So our intent is to copy the color palette of the generalized color palette of the downtown, so that this feels like an extension of the downtown and does not sit alone, on its own out here, on the gateway, in the gateway area. The intent also was to appeal to perhaps the batching singles or the young professionals in terms of the demographic, to make it give it a sense of destination, a sense of, again, downtown, a sense of urban living, which we believe will be very, very popular with that particular demographic. So it is really a live work, as you can see. So we've integrated that main level office space, and parking is concealed underneath and around the back of the building. We've used a palette, which we believe, again, is conducive with what's been done downtown. With brick, significant amount of brick, and then, stucco and some metal paneling, which will enhance or provide that urban look. So that's what we're doing.
I wanted to just ask, so just so that you know my background, I am not an architect. I am the downtown neighborhood chair and I represent the Business Alliance. But So my questions are kind of just pretty high level. The fencing around the main, it looks like fencing around the main level. Is there an aerial view or something? Is there, so what looks like fencing around the main level, is that actually attached to the building or is there a gap?
Seeing the glass window.
Oh,
Are
is
you-
this,
You're not talking about the glazing for the main level office. Runs
maybe
all
I
the way-
am.
Yeah, that's glazing.
Okay, got it. And then, okay, good. That was my question. That was confusing. Let's see that. So do you come right up to the sidewalk then with the structure?
We do. Well, pretty close. It's actually the property line's a little bit behind the sidewalk, and so it's a couple of feet back. But yeah, it's
Okay.
basically that.
Okay.
Which is-
Again,
Quinn is just it's in the vocabulary of the urban nature, of the downtown.
Sure.
So also you notice we call it 990 West, where again we're trying to go and create a destination sort of feel for what are really going to be luxury apartments for that particular demographic.
yeah, so tell me more about that as far as, are these 2-bedroom, what sort of, yeah, are you targeting with this project?
Hey, Kevin, maybe I can cover that.
Go ahead.
Hey guys, my name's Jeremiah Mon. So I'm actually one of the 2 partners that own this property. We're Vision Real Estate just across the street from the library. You can see the library right there. We're renting our space right now. We're excited to build this project because we're going to be moving our office to this location. So the ground floor commercial will be our new office. And because we are in the multifamily business, we wanted to be able to have, people who we work with be able to rent, obviously rent this since we are a property management company. And so for us, we're trying to make sure that we've been based here in Provo for 18 years and been excited to have a building that we can call our own right here in Provo at the Gateway. We are primarily doing 1-bedroom. Well, we're only doing 1-bedroom apartments because that is where the need is in this community. Affordable homes. I mean, they're going to be attractive, but I want to caution against the luxury thing because there's a lot of luxury that's being built right now, and that's causing price problems in our community. And we are not going for super high-end fancy. There's too much of that already. We're trying to provide homes for those folks that need 1-bedroom apartments in the area. We have another building that we did that's 1-bedroom apartments just over by the car dealerships. And those have been always in very high demand. They're nice. I always like to call them nice. Nice is a sweet spot, in my opinion. We're not trying to do super high-end fancy type stuff that's extremely costly, but we are trying to provide a nice quality structure to the community. And so the building that we did over by the car dealerships has done very well. That's Riverview Apartments. And that's just we have a waiting list all the time of young married couples who want to move in and be in that area. And so we want to extend that opportunity and continue to support that opportunity in a part of the town that's not seen a lot of development and a lot of attention. Because, frankly, I mean, our office, being that we are property managers and we're a real estate office, we get a lot of people that need freeway access. And as they go out and we visit the properties we take care of. And so we're excited to be in this particular area and contribute to that. So that's
Jeremiah, it's Carol. So what's the address of the Riverview Apartments?
Riverview the Riverview Apartments is 955 North, 550 West.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And
yeah. I wanted to ask then, and again, I'm not saying this is a deal breaker or anything for me. I'm just curious what your thoughts are. My first impression of this is it looks like a church with that steeple. And I worry that maybe a pretty good gut reaction, first impression from a lot of people who see it that way. What are your thoughts, designers, owners?
Well, this is Kevin again. This is based, first of all, Jeremiah, thanks for clarifying the idea of luxury. I think in terms of the overall look, one would call it much more of an upscale look. And I guess that's what I was referring to.
Sure.
In terms of the elements you're talking about there, Quinn, that's actually, this thing is somewhat modeled after an Art Deco sort of approach, that you saw down in Los Angeles and that kind of stuff. And so that was a very common sort of device or element or whatever. I can't imagine anybody would think it's a church with all the balconies and stuff like that. But the point of that balcony, or not that balcony, but that kind of spire structure is just to go into upscale, and give it a focal point and a point of interest, that kind of thing. So it's obviously what we want to do is we're trying to establish an identity on that corner. And I think given what you want to accomplish with the gateway, you really want to do something like that, because the opposite, version of this would be to do something which makes no statement or very little statement. Making something that does have a statement actually kind of sets the overall tone of the gateway, and that this is really the first major structure that's going to go in that area. And so you could go to Salt Lake, you can go to, any large city, and you'd find elements, similar to that, which were established for the very same idea, to create identity. So
Sure.
I absolutely have no qualms
About it.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it'd be very successful.
James, what do you think?
In the context, though, like, it absolutely reads church steeple in a Utah County, like, Mormon, very influenced society. Like, I don't think anyone's going to look at that and be like, oh, interesting interpretation of Art Deco.
Yeah, because it is, to me, kind of the only superfluous element for design. Like, if there were more things that were clearly Art Deco on the structure, then maybe it would make more sense. But it's kind of just a big, unneeded thing that makes it look like a church.
Hey, Kevin.
Yeah.
Dave just texted me and he's like, I'll take the poll off then.
Hey, if that's what you're just taking that little spire thing. If we take that off, that's what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we see it from another view? This is Carol. So we can see so right now on the left is the temple spire, you're saying, right?
Well, not temple, but yeah, I just, hey, and
I
I'm
mean,
not,
that's yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I just thank you.
Yeah.
I agree that it would look better without that there.
Yeah. Okay.
So just from an architectural point of view, that really is that strong of a thing to you guys, that one element makes all the difference?
Well, I have a few other bits of feedback, but I definitely want to agree with that.
And let's hear it. You can go through your list. This is our time to have those discussions as a board. So
Sure. Would it be possible to share my screen? I just did a really quick Photoshop mock-up of what we might be able to, let's take a look at this. Oh, host disabled participant screen sharing.
we're working on it. We'll get it for you.
Okay, perfect. So let me pull this over. I feel like in the current design, there's like so much horizontal emphasis. And maybe it's because I'm not able to really imagine what this white surface treatment is. So I think like having this inlay, just kind of simplifying actually. So it's more about editing out some of the details to make it feel a little more bold. So I covered up the brick or whatever this surface treatment is to make this feel more like a continuous element pushing through. And then also just covered up what I think is kind of a busy portion over here with all of the white bands cutting through. I think like there's some nice vertical lines happening in the design, but I feel like due to all of that horizontal white banding, it's really like fighting sort of verticality. And I could see an argument that this is a neighborhood of like single level homes, and putting something that feels tall in the neighborhood might really feel imposing. But I think it's 4 stories, like more leaning into that as like a part of the building design rather than having it so like zebra stripey, which I think is what's happening right now.
Okay. Cool.
And then also, I don't have a mock-up for it, but I think the numbers, like picking a kind of cool font and removing the top and bottom bounding lines could make that a really cool sort of wayfinding like logo element. But right now it sort of feels like a default font to me, and the top and bottom lines, which I'm not sure what those would be made out of. If you go to the other elevation, like having something that's more like kind of a modern, poppy, bigger font, I think would be really nice.
I know that this Carol's, anyway, I can't raise my hand, but so I know we got letters from a couple of neighbors that are supportive of it, but I'm concerned that you're going to go in there and this is going to be totally out of sync with the rest on that street. Although there, you know, I do understand that somehow it'd be nice to change that, but I'm wondering how other neighbors are feeling. I'm assuming you've had neighborhood meetings about this.
This is Aaron from planning staff. Let me just remind you, we're not reviewing the project plan itself today. We're just reviewing the architecture materials.
Thank you for thank you for reminding me.
I'm extremely excited about this. From my perspective with downtown Provo, our gateway is one of our biggest pain points. And this is a phenomenal project I'm really excited about. To really, right now, it's a giant welcome to Provo. We have trashy vacant gas stations. And so this is a huge step forward. So I'm excited about the project.
I totally agree with you, Quinn, as far as that goes. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, I did just, I want to make that clear, even though we are giving you some criticism right now. So
it may well be out of scale with what's there now, but this is the catalyst for what we hope is going to spur further redevelopment that will be very similar to this.
Right. Did you guys all hear that? Okay.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yes,
Cool.
and it has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Jeremiah, what did you think about James's comments?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not an artist, so I don't necessarily have a ton of perspective on that. I think what I don't want to see it be too imposing, because it is certainly we have the first mover disadvantage in that respect, I suppose.
Sure.
So I think part of the thing that I do like about the horizontals that Kevin has put there has been to kind of break it up a little bit, so it's not just one massive column. We really did do quite a bit of variety on the exterior. That is a little bit more costly. But I mean, at one point we actually were thinking about not doing the balconies, but we felt like the balconies would keep it from being a giant wall. And,
yes.
And so we're trying to, I think, get away from any one particular element that's too imposing, whether it's a large column or, a large wall. We've tried to break up as much as possible so it kind of blends in a little bit more despite its size. Maybe I don't know if that's if I'm conveying that very well, but those are just my musings anyway.
Hey,
Okay.
Kevin here. Hey, one of the reasons that the design is the way it is because of just what Jeremiah was talking about. Understanding that we're in a bordering residential area, what I wanted to do is make sure that I limited the apparent height of the building, just because. And then secondly, provided enough detailing that it felt more residential than it did commercial. And I don't know if that's, was the right thing to do, but understanding that it was the first, change of this sort in the gateway, I just thought that it would be friendlier, with that design approach.
Sure. And James, I don't know if you can see this because I have a materials board in front of me, but it looks like the top of those vertical and then the chunks of the spire are corrugated metal. That's the gray portion. I don't know if you gathered that from the rendering. So that does add kind of a neat texture, different sort of thing to factor. Yeah, and then is the rest of this, just because the colors are not perfectly matching up in my mind, the rest of it that looks like it's stone, in the rendering, it's pretty beige, but in the materials board I have, it's more of a red brick. Is that the same thing?
The brick is actually meant to go into harmonize with brick in the downtown. So it would be something of a reddish gray, although really the number one thing is to make sure it's harmonious, whatever that is. Yeah,
just like on the materials board here, this looks very red and this looks very beige. So
it's around the windows, right, Kevin? That's what's around the windows between the balconies?
Right, exactly. That's correct.
So it probably would be a little bit redder in reality than the beige you see on there. Yeah, I think that's a true statement.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that because that does add more contrast, because the rendering that I have here is a lot of gray and beige. And I think that red does add a little bit more color contrast, which I think is good.
What do you guys think of, Cowboy Properties apartment that's down over, what is it, around 300 West? Cowboy Properties has their apartment.
I love it.
I think is that a similar palette to this one, Kevin? Do you know?
I actually don't. I'm not familiar with that particular property.
It's pretty cool because I swear when I see that one, I hardly even notice it's as huge as it is.
And that brick is very red.
Mm-hmm. It looks really good. They have some brown stucco there as well. So they've got kind of red brick, brown stucco. But I despite how huge that building is, it really blends in quite a bit on that one. I think we're probably going a little bit more on the gray side than the brown side for sure, because there's plenty of brown around too. So but that's
I like the red a lot.
I do too. I think it's a super nice color that isn't trying to blend in too much. It has some presence. Is the white band the white stucco?
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, and this is just a personal preference, but like traditional brick architecture, to me, the load should be transferred through the brick all the way to the ground. But here we have like these levitating bands of stucco, which are kind of a don't look at me type of material in my opinion. So I don't know. I just think that if you had pure brick around those window sections and just cut, and I know I'm reacting a lot to the horizontal bands. I don't love them personally. If that was the red brick all the way from the 4th floor down, I think it would be like a really nice textured surface. And I don't know. I'll get off the white bands for a little bit.
I think if we're not careful, we could do what you're talking about, James, no question about it. But there's no question that it's going to accent verticality. And if you guys are okay with accenting the verticality, taking away a little bit of the residential sense and feel and making it more commercial or hotelish feeling, then that's certainly something we could look at. So.
Yeah, that's just my take, but happy to hear from other people on the committee as well.
Well, I would agree. The concern is I don't know enough about this to try to pick any fights with anybody. So I wouldn't make it. I don't think I would feel comfortable making it a requirement personally. James, you could, if you wanted to make a motion, make it a requirement that they eliminate the white bands, but we could also just approve it and make a suggestion that they remove the white bands. And then that suggestion is recorded and that goes to Planning Commission. But it's up to us how we want to go. Now, obviously we can't make a motion yet. We want to see if there's any public comment, but is there anything else we would add before we check for public comment?
I like keeping it as residential as possible. That's
Yeah.
just instead of going to more commercial looking.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Quinn, if I could too, well, I totally respect James's input here. Those vertical elements, the reason I detailed them is I was trying to add some detailing which would make them feel more residential. The large element on the corner, well, I'm totally okay with removing that spire. I think making it a monolithic element it's going to be really massive looking. So my vote would be take the spire away, but then still leave the detailing in the vertical column.
Sure. Okay. Is there any exterior lighting on this structure?
Yeah, we haven't really gotten into it yet, but we'd certainly want to go and do some cool things, particularly on the west side where we got that great, signage, integrated signage and everything.
Yeah.
That would be fabricated out of aluminum. So it would be, again, really, really urban feeling and that kind of thing. But yeah, lighting is going to have to be an important part of this.
Yeah, especially I think it is on the gateway, right as you come off the freeway at night. Is this going to be illuminated with headlights, or is it going to be self-illuminated with exterior lighting on the building? And I think that'll make a pretty big difference and a big statement, especially with this kind of your focal point, the entrance right here. Whether the steeple's removed or not, you still have the kind of that big statement piece. So I think if that were illuminated, that would really, I think, help that accent piece.
We'll want to be, I know that from our point of view, we're going to want to be a little cautious because we are certainly want it to look nice and attractive and be welcoming. But I know that at our other apartments, the car dealership lights are constantly lighting up those apartments, and those poor tenants, we had to get them all blackout curtains. so we
don't want anything
recognizing
shiny
it's on the border of a neighborhood. We want to be real cautious about that.
Sure.
With
Yeah,
that said,
cool.
Glenn, though, I really think what you're talking about is a very important thing, and it can be accomplished and still shield light from surrounding residential areas. So I think it could be done carefully and very impressively. So.
Okay. Let's jump to public comment and see if there's anything. So if you could check into that.
There are no public comments at this time. Give it 15 seconds.
Okay. Okay. Okay, James or Carol or myself, I guess. What motion do we want to make?
I'm fine with it just being a recommendation, my feedback, not a requirement.
So maybe the recommendation. Go ahead, Carol.
Well, I was going to say, I think we can make the recommendation. I do like taking that spire off.
Yeah. So I would say maybe a motion that requires the steeple to be removed, and then maybe just recommends the use of exterior lighting and the consideration to remove the horizontal bands.
Yes,
So
I agree.
okay.
Is that a motion, Quinn?
I think so. I don't know. Did I say everything I needed to? I think so. Overall, we're super excited about the project. I think it looks fantastic. The one requirement would be that the steeple's removed, and then a recommendation that you consider removing the white horizontal bands, and that you consider strongly some exterior lighting. So
Great.
do I have a second?
A second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So Kevin, you can feel free to kind of explore what those recommendations mean. If Planning Commission asks, if you think it's a really just terrible idea, that's fine. It'll just show as a recommendation to Planning Commission with no requirement. The only requirement we made is just that one skinny additional thing that looks an awful lot like a steeple.
Okay. And you know what I'll do is going to planning commission, I'll just go and have a revised version of the rendering that shows those bands removed. And if they like it better, then that's up to them.
Okay. Aaron, anything else?
That's it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. I'm excited for this project.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Thanks for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good feedback about the steeple. That's pretty darn funny. I hadn't thought about that, but that's very true for around here. Thanks.
Hey, thank you.